Hi guys, my name is Nikolai J and welcome to my channel. So today I will be reviewing Phone Booth. Now Phone Booth is an older movie. It came out in 2002. It's listed under the psychological thriller genre and it stars Colin Farrell, Kiefer Sutherland. I always mess up his name. I always want to call him Kiefer, but Kiefer Sutherland, Forest Whitaker, Paula J. White, and Katie Holmes. And it was directed by, I think his name is pronounced Joel Schumacher. I don't know. I don't want to butcher it, but I believe that's his name. So to give you a little backstory on this movie, it focuses on Stu Shepard, who is a publicist. Now, he's someone that goes around quite often manipulating people to get what he wants. He does a lot of lying, as you see within the first, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. If even 15, maybe just at 15. While he does have a cell phone that he uses to do all this manipulating and to call people and all this stuff, because remember at this point it's 2002, they were starting to phase out phone booths and things like that, so he has a cell phone. But every day at the same time he goes to a phone booth and makes a call to a young woman named Pam, who's an aspiring actress played by Katie Holmes, and he basically calls her and tries to get her to meet up with him so that ultimately he can sleep with her. But he says to help her career, help further it, and she just wants to be famous and he talks a good game, so she believes it. Well, fast forwarding, on this particular day, right before the day the phone booth is scheduled to be torn down, this phone booth that Stu Shepard, played by Colin Farrell, goes to, he makes a phone call to Pam, and then while he's in the booth, after he hangs up with her, it rings. Now, as you guessed it, he picks up the phone and then discovers that there is a killer on the other line who is watching him and waiting to shoot him at any given opportunity unless he does what he says. Now, Stu, of course, initially thinks this is a joke and he can't be serious, as would anyone. But then he soon finds out that not only is he serious and he does have a gun ready to shoot him at any point in time, he also can see him completely. He can see everything he's doing, and he demonstrates that by telling Stu what he's doing at what moment he's doing it. So then he knows, yeah, this guy is really watching me. And because in the middle of New York City, of course, there's like a gazillion windows, so he doesn't know where he could possibly be. The antagonist, who is on the other end of the phone, explains to Stu that he basically has a problem with all his manipulation, his lying, and his just dishonest nature, and that is why he's trying to bring justice to him and make him do the things that he has set out for him to do. He kind of sees himself as someone who is supposed to help make things right in the world, so to speak. So that means those who do manipulative things, he thinks if they don't get punished any other way, he should be the one to provide that punishment. The antagonist clearly tells him that he does not like Stu's incessant lying and deception, and that he's going to make sure that he makes all of those things right. That he has a long journey ahead, basically. So during the entire duration of the movie, yes, as you guessed, it takes place inside of a phone booth, nowhere else, like literally nowhere else. They have little screens of different people he calls in different rooms and places, but essentially he is stuck in the booth for the entire, what, I think hour and 20 minutes. Now, the first thing that I liked was that you have no indication of who the antagonist might be. This greatly stems from the fact that he has so many enemies because he lies to people all the time and he screws them over. So it's so many people that could want to get him. You don't know who it could be, and they show a large percentage of the people that he lies to in the beginning. So all you know is that they have a deep voice. It has to be a guy, but that's about it. That's the extent of it. So you're constantly curious, wondering, who did he screw over that is now standing there? What's the connection? How do they know each other? And so on and so forth. The antagonist was a smart man, to say the least. He knew to plan every single thing. And because Stu was so predictable with that phone booth, but not only him, actually quite a few men, as the antagonist explained earlier on in the movie, he had followed them, basically gotten all their information. So he knew just where to plant everything that he planted. He knew that he needed to bug the phone booth. He knew every number that Stu dialed. That's why he knew Pam's number, and he was able to call her back right after Stu did and basically tell her Stu's been lying to you and he just wants to sleep with you. He has zero intention of honestly doing anything to benefit your career. So he was far from amateur. He had done it plenty of times before, and he knew exactly how to get things done and how to make it so that it was darn near impossible for Stu to get out of the situation. actually impossible to get out of the situation, really. There was just no way around it. Now, the antagonist also does something that I thought was quite interesting. He punishes him by the way of his deception or his sins, so to speak. Continuously tells Stu that if he does what he says, he'll let him go. But as you probably guessed, he actually had no intention of letting him go. And Stu figures this out eventually, because he says the thing about liars is you know when they're lying. And he goes, you never had any intention of letting me go. And the antagonist is like, no, I really didn't. But wasn't it fun? He just thinks it's so interesting and so fun to keep toying with him, because Stu actually does, for a long period of time, believe that he has a chance of getting out of that booth, not getting killed by the antagonist or having his information blown up. Because the antagonist does also tell Stu he needs to call both Pam and Kelly, who he is married to. He's married to Kelly, and tell them that he's basically been screwing them over, but Stu doesn't want to do that. And the antagonist basically says, either do it or I'll do it and kill you. So he ends up having to tell them the truth. So Stu has no idea where this antagonist is. Again, he's in the middle of New York City with a bunch of buildings and a gazillion windows, but he does know that he's limited on what he can do. This is shown when he goes to make a phone call and he tries to call 911, and the antagonist shoots him in the ear, shoots his ear, and basically tells him, don't play with me. Like, I know you were calling emergency services. And that's when Stu says, oh, you bugged the booth, and realizes what's happening. Now, this only kind of caused some problems in the film, because later on he ended up making another phone call, and I'm not going to say who he made it to, but he made another phone call, and the antagonist gave no indication that he knew he was making that phone call, nor who he was calling. So I was a little confused about that. That kind of made me, you know, stop and go, this isn't making the most sense, just because realistically they just don't add up. So it seems kind of off and kind of odd that he would go ahead and call. He knew about the first phone call but didn't know about the second phone call, and he's still in the same booth. That didn't, but yet he knew every number he dialed to call Pam, and he knew the numbers to dial to call Kelly. Like, he knew all that stuff, but he didn't realize that second phone call that he was making. I don't know, it didn't make sense to me, but anyway. Now the cops do realize this, that he's on the phone with someone eventually who is making him stay on the phone. I mean, just logically, it didn't make any sense. They're saying he shot a guy because earlier in the film, the antagonist shot a guy who was trying to pull Stu out of the phone booth, because he told Stu, do not leave that phone booth. If you leave or if you hang up on me, I will kill you. And he cocked his weapon. So, I mean, obviously the police knew he has to either be like extremely crazy to shoot someone and just sit there and, you know, be like, well, I just want to make my phone call, or something wasn't right, and they were able to pick up on the fact that something was a little bit off, especially because when Forest Whitaker asked him who he was talking to, he said he was talking to his therapist, I believe. And when Forest Whitaker spoke with his wife, with Stu's wife, Kelly, and asked her who their therapist was, she said he didn't have one, and she was adamant about it. So that's when he knew something was going on. Now, overall, I do think this movie was really interesting. I thought it was a good movie, a nice watch. I watched it when I was younger, so long ago that I watched it on VHS tape. Like, we still had a VCR at the point in time that I watched it. So it was a very long time ago, but I did remember that I enjoyed it, which is what ultimately made me want to watch it. But I think it's a movie worth watching. You should see it at least once. I would watch it numerous times. I have no problem with that. But at the very least, I think even if it's not something you pick up again, you definitely would. You wouldn't feel like it was a waste of an hour and 21 minutes of your life like some movies make you feel. So definitely, if you get the chance, go ahead and check out Phone Booth. Another thing I will say, random tidbit of information. This movie says the F word 143 times. Good old Amazon there with the fun facts. I didn't realize it at first, but after watching it for a second go round, I can totally believe that. I heard that word a lot. So, yeah. But all right, thank you so much for watching this review. I hope it has been helpful, and I hope it has motivated you to go ahead and give Phone Booth a watch if you have not seen it. And even if you have, but it's been a very long time, go ahead and watch it again, because it's a good movie overall, I think. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.